Hello and welcome to my channel. Now today we're going to talk about how to travel Mexico and the travel tips you need before you go. Now to start off, it's very important to know that Mexico has two seasons. It has a dry season and a rainy season. So typically the dry season is between November and May, and then the rainy season begins. So it would depend a lot on what you can do and the conditions in which the places are. So if you're planning for a beach vacation, I'd say you are better off booking throughout the dry season, because during the rainy season, if you are on the east coast, you can definitely get some really bad weather, including some hurricanes, which is not something you want to happen while you're on vacation. You should also know that during the rainy season, it's actually when the seaweed season is on the east coast. So you should definitely account for that, as you might get a lot of seaweed on that coast. My second tip would be to be a little bit flexible with your itinerary. Mexico is a massive country and it does have a lot to offer. So make sure to try and plan as best as you can, but leave some options for little changes if you are that kind of person who just goes on with the flow and can change some things along the way. As if you do find out about a cool place that's close by and you want to visit it, it would be nice to have a day and a time when you can go, instead of just having everything overbooked and just not enough time to do it. Tip number three would be to definitely have a travel insurance. Now, you never know what's going to happen. You might get sick, you might get the flu. It's always best to have a backup plan or an option to go and use the medical care system to take care of you, because as healthy as you might be, you never know what might occur. Okay, so tip number four, that would be to learn some Spanish. Now, in the big cities, in let's say Mexico City, you're definitely going to find people who speak some English so you can get around. But generally speaking, most of the population doesn't speak English. So if you want something basic, you're not going to get it unless you speak some Spanish. So let's say learn a few things. Learn numbers, learn a little phrases that can help you get by, and just communicate very basically about things that you want or you need. You can get pretty good with the use of internet, but also as a second suggestion, I do speak very fluent Spanish. So if you are interested, you can contact me and I can give you a couple of lessons so we can get you prepared for your trip to Mexico. You can reach out to my email. I'll leave that in the clip. It should be over here. So you can send me an email. The next tip would be to carry only lightweight clothes. Now, in Mexico, it's quite hot. So it's best to just bring summer clothes, but make sure to always carry a jacket or some sort of a top, whatever you feel most comfortable wearing, because in places with high altitude, as for example is Mexico City, at night it gets a little bit chilly, even though during the day it's like a gazillion degrees. At night it does get a little bit chilly. Next tip is reusable water bottles. You may have heard about this before, but you can drink the tap water. So in this case, you would have to buy multiple bottles of water. But if you find a place to refill, like for example, if you're staying in hostels, they usually have these big bottles of drinkable water, like filtered water, where you can refill your bottles instead of always buying new ones. And if you have the budget for it, you can also purchase a bottle with a filter that filters bacteria and diseases and some more stuff, so that you can also use the tap water to fill your bottle, and you can use it as well to get water from rivers or just natural sources, and you're always sure that it's filtered and you can drink it. Next tip would be to get a waterproof bag, because if you're planning to go on beach vacation, then you're probably going to get on a couple of boats, and when you get out of the water, you're going to be dripping with water and the whole bench on the boat is going to get wet. So it's always good to have your clothes and your valuables in a bag that is waterproof and you know that it's not going to get messy and wet for no reason at all. Now, moving on, we go to the food tips. If you're a fan of street food, that is perfectly fine, but make some wise decisions. So, if you see a stall that has no one on it, and next to it there's a stall with like 10 people waiting and another 10 eating, then the one with the most people is the safest bet. Usually, there's a reason. It might be just better taste, but sometimes it's because the food is better and the quality is better and they have a higher turnover, which means that the food does not get bad. So you're less likely to get a food poisoning from it. Now, next stop would be on the safety tips. Now, always beware of your surroundings and try not to walk alone during the dark. In some regions, it does get a little bit dangerous. Like, for example, Mexico City Center. It's very sketchy, and I would recommend if you're a woman, especially traveling alone, definitely do not walk alone at night in Mexico City in the center. There are neighborhoods where that is fine to walk, but not in the center. I walked there at 9 a.m. in the morning alone and I felt quite threatened because a lot of the people I saw looked super sketchy. I wouldn't recommend walking by yourself at night for sure. And here I would like to mention that I have prepared a very detailed travel guide for Mexico with 55 pages, including all of the tourist destinations you might want to visit, all of the tips that you might need to know. And on top of that, I prepared 4 example itineraries that you can use. 2 example itineraries for a 7-day trip and 2 example itineraries for a 14-day trip. And you can get that for a very low price. I've put the link in the description below the video so you can go ahead and check it out. I am selling my travel guides on Etsy, so if you're interested, you can click the link and check them out. Now, the next section with travel tips would be transportation. You can get by in Mexico in a lot of different ways, but it always depends where you need to go. So there are a lot of flights that you can take between cities. They do have a lot of airports. So if you have the budget, make sure to check them out. But you can also use the bus system, which is pretty decent. I used ADO or ADEO, like they say in Mexico, and they were always on time. The buses were super comfortable. If you don't want to spend too much on a flight, you can always use the bus system. And if you have everything planned way in advance, you can get those tickets online and they will be half price if you get them in advance, like a month and a half before you get there. They're going to be way cheaper. But then if you need just cancel that and get a new ticket, just make an exchange or something, you can't do that online. You would have to go to one of their offices and do that exchange there, which is definitely going to lose you the discount you have, and you're going to have to pay the difference between the new fare and the last one you paid. In some areas, you are probably going to use colectivos, which are, I wouldn't say big buses, they're small buses. They're like big vans or small buses, but they gather people from each place, and it's usually a small price that they charge you to get to your location. If you will be renting a car, then definitely check if the location you will be renting it, if that area is safe to drive a car, because there are some places where you can get that car stolen and it's not going to be good for your credit card. The safest area to drive is Yucatan and Quintana Roo. So if you're in that area, then it should be fine for you to get a car. Well, that was everything from me today. I hope you enjoyed this video and you found it useful. If you did, then make sure to hit the subscribe button and follow my adventures. See you in the next one. Bye.